Good evening. I'd like to call to order our Gladstone Planning Commission meeting for Tuesday, February 17th. Could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss,
Here.
Commissioner Busick, Commissioner Carlson,
Present.
Commissioner Grau,
Here.
Commissioner Brennan,
Here.
Chair Smith.
Present. Let's do the flag salute, please. Would everyone stand? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Consent agenda. All items listed below are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a commission member or person in the audience requests specific items be removed from the consent agenda for discussion prior to the time the commission votes on the motion to adopt the consent agenda. Okay. So our first item will be approval of our January 20th regular meeting minutes. I would entertain a motion from anyone.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, the motion was made by Commissioner Carlson and seconded by Commissioner Weiss, excuse me, apologize. Regular agenda, item number 2 is our monthly planning reports for January 2026.
Chair Smith, I need to do a roll call first on that one.
On which one? Oh, there we
Approval
go.
of
Go ahead.
Sorry. Commissioner Brennan,
Yes.
Commissioner Grau,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
Chair Smith.
Yes. Okay. So on our regular agenda, item number 2, monthly planning reports for January of 2026. Item number 3, public hearing file TXT-26-01, proposed accessory dwelling unit ADU updates to the Gladstone Municipal Code, Chapter 17.10-R-7.2, single household, and 17.12 through R-5 single household residential zoning districts. And then we will have business from the public. So let's begin with our item number 2, our monthly planning report. Staff.
Thank you, Chair Smith. In the packet this evening, you have your planning report for January. We did add pictures as we spoke about at the last meeting for each of the building permit applications that have come through. And then we also received a 3-parcel partition. So I went ahead and included that preliminary plat. It's pretty small, but if you have your packet electronically, you can zoom in just so you could see what's being proposed there. The proposal for 3 lots is eventually meant to be 12 middle housing lots. So they're planning to further divide those using our middle housing land division, but they have to have the 3 parent parcels first to be able to do that. So it'll be an ongoing application.
Do you have the address of where that is?
It's that is a good question. It doesn't have an address. So it is at Caldwell, right across from where Tim's View Avenue comes into
Okay.
it. On the
there.
south side of Caldwell, right, just a little bit southwest of Tim's View Avenue.
Can you speak a little bit to the parcel 3? What's the intended access?
Yep, that's, I believe the intended access is the deeded access to Cornell Place. That definitely was an issue when we had a pre-app meeting. So I haven't had a chance to dive into this, but I think they're still planning to use it. I'm not sure if that's feasible.
Okay, but there's an existing easement?
There is, yes, that parcel does have access to, there's a access agreement, but I believe it's for the 1 parent parcel. So in our pre-app notes, we did note that they would need to update that if they were bringing more dwelling units off of it than originally proposed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they provided that documentation. I haven't been able to do a completeness review on it yet.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on the January planning report?
Commissioners, Jennifer, anything? I very much like this with the pictures.
Great.
Excellent job. Thank you.
I forgot to credit Google Maps, so I need to do that on the next one, but they are all from Google Maps. So
That's great, though. Just what I wanted to see.
great.
Thank you very, very
welcome.
much.
Yes.
Okay.
And then if I may just request, I know we have our public hearing on ADU standards, but I believe almost everyone here is here to just give public testimony on an item not related to the agenda. So if it pleases the commission, we may be able to switch the agenda order to allow that to happen.
Commissioners, how do you feel? Go ahead.
So then, Chair Smith, I'll just request that you take agenda item 3 before agenda item 2.
We are now going to hear business from the audience prior to the public hearing. Do we have cards for everyone that's wishing to speak?
We do. First one is Mike Perry.
Okay. Welcome. No, you need to. I don't see the cord dropping down to the floor. It's underneath the table, it looks like.
I can give my seat over for public testimony. Oh, are these live as well? Okay.
Sorry about that.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mike Perry. I live at 1625 Manor Drive in Gladstone. I've been a resident for 22 years, approximately. So if you would allow me again a moment to summarize the events thus far regarding the proposed adult foster home at 1230 Windsor Drive. So again, it's the same thing I had talked about last month. And I'm just basically going to update you on some stuff that's come up. So in November, my wife and I happened into one of your meetings. We saw an update being given on the Clackamas County building permit for a home in our neighborhood. The application was for adult foster home and the city was requesting further information. We realized this would create a significant impact on the livability of our neighborhood and began asking questions of city officials to determine who would make the decision to allow the building permit and who would decide on the required home occupancy permit. We did not receive any clear information from the city, consistent answers, and so we began to do our own research. I attended your meeting last month and spoke with you. And I kind of, when I walked away, I've kind of got the feeling like I should go to the county and ask some more questions. And I think several of you had suggested I go to talk to Clackamas County. We submitted our objections to the county, citing the municipal code 17.78.04011. And their response, or as justification for denying the permit. And they have routed us back, stating that none of our concerns are from their building code. So they were like, this is out of our jurisdiction. They instead said that we should probably reach back out to the city or to the third-party land review company with our concerns. They gave us email for addresses for Kristen Bowen and 3J Consulting. We have since discovered and notified the city council so that at their last meeting that the state does not have the authority to override our city codes in order to license an adult foster home. The nature of an adult foster home in and of itself violates the home occupancy codes, and the building permit requested to facilitate that triggers an instant denial. My wife, Tony Perry, has a presentation regarding the building permit use to present to you next, but basically we are here to ask, as the commissioners of this board, in conjunction with whomever has the authority to enforce the municipal code, liaison with each other and with the county to deny the building permit, which seeks to add 4 bedrooms to the home for the sole purpose of having an adult foster home within our neighborhood. Should the building permit be denied, none of the other violations of the home occupancy permitting code will even come into play. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tony Perry. I live where he does, 1625 Manor Drive, and we're here talking about that building permit application B 1029925 for the Windsor Drive address. I have submitted a written objection to the Clackamas County Building Code Division because the county issues building permits, but the city of Gladstone's municipal code governs home occupations. So the coordination between these two jurisdictions is necessary before approval should be granted. The main objection is, of course, municipal code 17.78.04011 and 1778.0102. 1778.040 states very specifically that the dwelling or an accessory building may not be enlarged or altered in a way that requires a building permit for the primary purpose of conducting a home occupation. The language is very clear, very mandatory. The permit application proposes the addition of 4 new bedrooms to the existing dwelling. Available information indicates those bedrooms are intended to accommodate an adult foster home occupation. So if the primary purpose of adding those bedrooms is to enable or expand that occupation, then that section is directly implicated. The code contains no exception, variance pathway, or conditional compliance mechanism for alterations undertaken for that purpose. If the alteration is primarily to conduct the home occupation, it's simply prohibited. Adding 4 bedrooms is not incidental. It constitutes a substantial structural alteration tied to operational capacity. And section 1778.010 further requires that a home occupation remains subordinate to the residential use of the property. So when structural alterations are driven by business needs, the residential use is no longer clearly primary. The physical configuration of the dwelling begins to reflect the operational demands of the business rather than ordinary residential living. So my request is pretty straightforward. First, we want to ensure formal coordination between Clackamas County building codes and the city of Gladstone to determine the municipal code compliance. Second, require explicit written findings addressing whether the primary purpose of the alterations is to conduct or expand a home occupation. And third, if it is the case, to withhold or deny approval of this permit because under section 17.78.04011, it cannot be brought into compliance, just simply due to the nature of the business. So I respectfully ask the commission to apply the code as written and to ensure that the prohibitions are enforced consistently. And thank you for your time and attention.
I do have a question.
Of course.
The owners of the property, are they planning on living at that location as well?
Well, if we get to that point, that is another consideration. At the time, the
That's
owner
what
of the
I've heard.
property is an LLC. There is no resident who is applying for any of this at this point.
And I do believe that violates.
Right. That is also an owner-occupied business has to have somebody who actually owns the
live
house living
physically
there.
And physically.
Like I
lives
do.
there.
I
Yeah.
have a home-occupied business, for those of you who don't know, and I live there.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
betcha.
I love to see citizens and our local government work together on resolving issues. Thank you very much for all your research and time. Yeah. Is there anyone else that would like to share on
I
that
did not
issue?
receive any other requests.
So I'm looking to staff. How do we go about taking care of this? And are we the designated body that will make this final determination?
You certainly do implement the zoning codes. That is correct. And expanding for a home occupation, I completely agree, would be against the home occupation code standards. I'm going to defer to some ongoing conversations with the city attorney that we're having prior to a meeting that we're having with the neighbors in 2 weeks on March 2nd. I think we have March 3rd. We have a scheduled meeting. The state law that, has recently come into effect does read that a local government shall allow in residential zones these uses. It says you can't require a plan amendment, zone change, or conditional use permit. It's silent on home occupation. City of Gladstone has not required home occupations for this type of use, but it's clearly not as clear in our home occupation language as a family childcare home. that should also say probably these types of uses that are meant to be reviewed as residential. So I do see that there is a conflict with the code. The resolution isn't necessarily that it can't be a permit issued if the state says we have to allow this type of use. It might be that we apply state law directly until which time our code comes into compliance. So we need to get more clarification from our city attorney on that before we can make that determination.
As the chair of the planning commission, could I be included on that meeting?
It probably wouldn't be appropriate with the city attorney to be part of that meeting, but we could definitely do a recap to this group.
Okay.
But
'Cause
I'll ask.
That's something,
I don't know. So and I'm a contractor too, so
Right.
there's that piece of it, but
Can you confirm that the city attorney is going to be, if we have
no, the city attorney, I don't think is planning to be at the meeting. We have a lot of questions out, but I don't know if that's,
Yeah.
yeah. But we have questions that we've asked the city attorney that we're getting clarification on.
and the reason why I'm suggesting asking this is because having served on the commission for a while, there have been a couple of issues where there's been home businesses that have had to come before us.
Mhm.
And I want to make sure I know what is actually, but I kind of wondered about that. So,
Yes, and our code does have a stipulation that if there's ambiguity about what type of use or process applies, there is a process where you can come to planning commission and have this body make that determination. So from that standpoint, you are the correct body for interpreting issues between uses and what's in the code. The problem here is the layer of state law. So that's where we want to have the city attorney weigh in and see and help us determine our path forward.
I hear what you're saying about the state of Oregon, but they don't get to make all the final decisions. They're still part of it of the local level that,
Although they have changed the ability of the city to make a lot of decisions regarding residential use of land. Like a lot.
I know a lot, but I
Yeah.
still think that we have, the city of Gladstone gets to make
Yes.
decisions, final
That's
decisions, even if,
true.
even if there needs to be a meeting between the state and the city of Gladstone. So. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Can you remind me, where is the applicant in the
They are
process?
in the building permit process, but held right now because they haven't paid fees that are required for system development charges and utility connections. And they're significant fees.
Yeah.
They're over $10,000 in fees, so they have not paid those.
Thank you.
Also, based on the tightness of the streets in that neighborhood, has there been a traffic assessment impact report done?
No, and again, we can't require parking. We can't require, because of the proximity to McLaughlin.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm
Mhm.
deeply concerned that if there's an emergency and you've got to get vehicles back there, it ends up being only a one-way street, and it would impact not only the facility, if we want to call it that, but the other neighbors. So I do think that needs to be addressed.
And the chief of police will be at that meeting as
Okay.
well and has been read in on those concerns and has been giving thought to that. The fire marshal is also a plan reviewer for any building permits. So Clackamas County Fire does have to sign off on any building permit applications. So they are part of that review and inspection as well.
I understand that. I do know that I have friends in that neighborhood, and I remember one time there was an incident. There was a police officer, I think it was the medical aspect of the fire department, and nobody could go anywhere or get out of where we were around that bend, and we were stuck. So that's a deep concern.
Mhm.
Yeah, so. Okay, is there anything further we need to discuss or plan moving forward here regarding this?
I think we do have our meeting coming up, so that'll be a chance for us to all discuss it in further detail.
Do any commissioners have anything they'd like to add or?
Just a question. You're meeting with the city attorney separately.
Yes, I believe city staff has sent questions to the city attorney and is awaiting response, but I'm looking at City Recorder Bannock to confirm that.
Yes, we're working on questions for
Okay.
the city attorney.
But then after that, you're meeting separately with the neighborhood?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, the city administrator, the chief of police and
So
myself are
couldn't
scheduled.
Sheriff Smith still technically take part in that meeting or?
Or
But-
anyone
Well,
here that would
this-
like to join in.
This board will be potentially the quasi judicial
Right,
governing body for
exactly.
a decision, a distinction later. So
We have to be careful about
It'd be
ex
best not
parte
to.
contact.
Understood.
Mhm.
Quick question. If we're not, if Chair Smith cannot attend that meeting, would it be appropriate to add some questions maybe to then be asked to the attorney?
You could definitely do that. We could definitely feed those back. Yep,
Excellent suggestion, Jennifer. Thank you.
yes.
Does anybody else have anything like they want to ask or say?
And this may be more for just summary when it would come to us. Are there any other properties that set precedents here?
Yes,
the
we do
city?
have several adult foster care homes in the city of
Okay.
Gladstone.
Okay.
And they do not have home occupations. They have an exempted business license. If they show their state licensing, they're given what's called a business license exemption based on that licensing.
I would be interested in seeing where those locations are. Because just for my concerns about the traffic issues, because I know every situation is different and there are exceptions,
Mhm.
but I'd like to know where those are located and see how they've impacted those neighborhoods, if any at all.
And, I don't review those, so I think City Recorder Bannick says we can get those. The other thing you could probably do is do a Google search for adult foster care in Gladstone, and you probably get their advertisements for anyone who, at least anyone who has capacity or a vacancy, probably.
Is there any other further input and or questions? And by the audience, from the audience as well. You'd need to come up to there to speak because it has to be recorded.
Yes, you can actually go on the state's site that licenses these homes and put in where you are, and they will give you a list. There are indeed several in the city of Gladstone, a couple of them within a block of each other over on Barclay. Many of them owned by the same people, so I'm again unclear how they're living in their homes. But I also did some research on what was brought up about precedent, and precedent does not have to take place over what we're requesting. This is a whole separate issue, and if we're making the request as citizens of this street, what other people did or did not do doesn't really apply, because again, we're still talking about not zoning. We're talking about licensing, and HB 2005 and many of those things that are in place now do not apply. And you are correct, Chair, that the city does get to have a say.
Yes.
And I appreciate that, but I won't, precedence isn't going to drive any type of decision. I just
Thank you.
want to do some research before this comes to us.
Of course.
Thank you very much. Well, unless staff has anything else to add, then should we go on to our regular agenda?
I would just ask if you have a written version of your testimonies, if you would email that to me, that'd be great. Or I'll take it physically if you want to hand it off. Thank you.
You should have received one of those. Did you
Should be
receive
sitting
that?
right
Oh, I have this, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yay.
We did distribute the executive summary to everybody.
Okay,
Yep,
cool.
everybody
Thank you.
has that.
Yes.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I would like that. I didn't attend the meeting a week ago. Okay. Is that one that we can keep or? Thank you. Would anybody like copies?
Point of
that?
order, Chair Smith, I think it needs to go to your city recorder and then she can
And then
send
we
it
can
out.
distribute
Mhm.
it to you.
Fine. You want to give it to Ms. Bannick? Thank you. Okay. Okay, you're all welcome to stay if you'd like. Okay, now we're going to get back to our agenda in order. We're gonna go with, I believe it's item number 3. Yes. Thank you. Okay, item number 3. I'd like to call to order the public hearing on file number TXT-26-01 comprehensive plan text. The proposed amendments would provide, well, let me see, that's for the proposed to update Title 17 of the Gladstone Municipal Code, GMC, to revise the design and dimensional standards applicable to accessory dwelling units. Okay. The order of business will follow in conducting this hearing will be A, presentation of the staff report, B, entry of correspondence into the record, C, public testimony, D, additional staff comments, E, questions from the commission, F, hearing closed, no further testimony from the audience, G, discussion by commission and decision. Okay, and testimony, item number 3, any person interested may present testimony concerning the proposed amendments. The public hearing is your opportunity to comment on the proposal before the city makes a decision. We want to hear what you have to say, and we want you to give us your point of view. Help us to understand why you have drawn your conclusion and how it relates to the proposal. Public testimony for this hearing will be called for in 3 groups: testimony in favor of the proposal, testimony opposed to the proposal, and neutral testimony. If you wish to speak, please fill out one of the testimony forms and submit it to the city recorder. I will recognize those persons wishing to speak, and any questions should be addressed through me. When you testify, please state your name and address for the record, as this hearing will be taped. If you're participating online, click the raise your hand button at the appropriate time and wait to be recognized. If you're participating via telephone, dial *9 to raise your hand at the appropriate time, and wait to be recognized. Abstentions and conflicts of interest. At this time, I would like to ask members of the commission if they are abstaining from this matter or need to declare any conflicts of interest. Please indicate the nature of the conflict of interest and indicate whether you intend to participate or abstain in this hearing. Commissioner Volbada.
I will be participating. I have no conflicts of interest.
Commissioner Reese.
I will be participating and have no conflicts of interest.
Commissioner Brennan.
I have no conflicts of interest and I will be participating.
Commissioner Graw.
I will be participating and I have no conflicts of interest.
Commissioner Carlson.
I have no conflicts of interest and I will be participating.
Okay, and myself, Chair Smith, will be participating, and I have no conflicts of interest of any kind. Staff report, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair Smith. So there are a few slides on here that we've already seen when we first started work sessioning on this. So I'm going to go through them pretty quickly, but I just wanted to make sure in the record we have a reminder of where we've been in case, any city councilors watch or anything like that, although we'll probably give the same kind of information. So just to start with the background, this is part of our work program that's identified by council for the 2025-26 biennium. We have current code that is subjective in nature, but we would like to have clear and objective standards. And actually, because it's residential, we are required to do that. But we'd also like to maintain our community character and implement best practices for accessory dwelling units. We reached out to 7 peer jurisdictions, nearby neighbors, as well as unincorporated Clackamas County to see how they handle accessory dwelling units, to make sure that what we were doing was kind of consistent and see if they had ideas on best practices. And then our goal is to update the development code to achieve compatibility with community character through objective standards. And I think we got there. So let's go through that. So as a reminder, with our peer jurisdiction findings that my colleague Journey, who's here with us this evening, did the research for and spoke to those city staff members, most accessory dwelling units are capped at around 800 to 1,000 square feet. The height is between 25 and 26 feet. And we found out that 26 feet is because that's 75% of 35 feet high. So it puts you at 75% of your max height. So 26 feet seemed reasonable from that standpoint. It's backed by numbers, which we like. The bedroom numbers and front entrances are generally not regulated and hasn't been a problem with ADUs. Regulations are typically to the size, height, and setbacks, although where there were some design standards, they were usually a table of options type of thing. And design matching requirements like we have currently, where we have to match what the existing home looks like, are not common. They're hard to implement. The state requirements, as a reminder, we must allow at least one ADU per lot. We must have clear and objective standards. We have to try to not block ADUs, which is subjective. So I'm surprised they were allowed to say that. Cannot require separate utility connections, which we do not do. Can't require vehicle or bicycle parking or regulate density. On that separate utility connections piece, there have been a couple of ADU, not ADUs lately, where people want to put in a second kitchen, bathroom in their basement and maybe use it internally or rent out a space. And it really falls into this gray area of like, is it an ADU or isn't it? And if it is, it requires like a full SDC charge as if you're building a new home in Gladstone. So we've been having some discussions at the staff level about whether that's appropriate or not, or whether we should be right sizing our SDCs related to ADUs and then making it easier for people to do the right thing, you know, like get the right permits for the right utilities, but not pay the crazy fees that would be like building a whole new home. So I just wanted to make you aware that we are doing some research on that with those same 7 peer jurisdictions and seeing what other cities do, as well as looking at what the city's financial outlook is for that, so that when we do go to council, we'll probably be having a side discussion about SDCs as well. But because Planning Commission doesn't usually give input on financial matters, and we weren't ready with that research, we're going to bring that to the city council directly. So just so you know, that's happening.
Actually, I'm very happy you're doing that.
Good.
Even if they decide to only charge 75 or 50% less
Yeah.
for the SDC fees, I think that's important to designate separate residential.
Yeah, the one size fits all for a new, they call it an EDU, which I'm forgetting what that means, a living dwelling unit. I can't remember what the E stands for, but every EDU you have, which is like if you have equivalent dwelling unit, it's part of the SDC methodology. It's not, it's 1 or 2, right? It's not like 1 and then a smaller one. So you could build 2 full-size homes and pay the same fees and charges as you do for like a home and a 800 square foot ADU, which probably has less impact, right? So we're just looking at that and level of impact.
Okay.
So more on that at council if you're interested. Right now, our existing standards say that you need to be between 220 and 800 square feet. What we have talked about in this group is to say the maximum size should be 800 square feet or 75% of the primary structure, whichever is less, without having a minimum. Height right now is up to 35 feet, but industry standard was the 26 feet, which is 75% of the 35-foot height. Right now, we have to shall be the same or visually similar to the primary dwelling for exterior finished materials, roof pitch, windows, and eaves. Instead, we're changing to a menu of options where you can choose 2 out of the following 5, and it's very numerical, each of those standards. Currently, we require a maximum of 2 bedrooms and a maximum 1 entrance on the primary side. We would propose removing these standards. And then new to your packet, because we received comments from Clackamas County Fire Marshal Sean Olson, was to have some sort of addressing requirement that the address be clearly visible to the street. He said ADUs are less of a problem because you can kind of figure out which number the ADU is if you're trying to respond to one. They're having a lot of trouble with cottage clusters. So where I put it in the code is generally to all dwelling units. So it's not specific to ADUs, but would require an ADU to be clearly marked. So it'll cover everything. So it's a little bit, it's like this code language is ADU plus a little addressing requirement to try to make emergency services have an easier time of finding their locations. So the language that we proposed, we circled back to Clackamas Fire. They really liked it. They said that would really help them if we're requiring that. And then they can say it's required, you have to post it. We are not proposing any changes to the setbacks or to the maximum of 1 ADU per lot. The next slide has the same information, just kind of easier format. Max size 800 or 75% of primary, max height 26, 2 out of 5. This is just the Reader's Digest version that if you're trying to do an ADU, these are your standards.
Look how pretty it is.
Yes. Trying to make it really clear and really easy for someone to apply and do the right, put an application together right the first time so that everybody saves time. So we do recommend that the Planning Commission recommend approval to the City Council for their public hearing on March 10th, 2026. We made a sample motion there for you as well. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner Weiss.
Can I ask about 17.10.050 part right before 055? The address is visible. Are
Yes.
we at risk of putting a lot of Gladstone residents out of compliance by implementing this?
It won't be applicable to past existing structures, will be in new structures. So these will apply if you apply for a new permit.
Okay, and that is in line with where it sits in the code. Sorry, I was just trying to flip as you were saying it.
Yeah, so the only so we would only implement 17.10.050 if someone was applying for something. So if they're applying to put an addition on their home, I'm going to check the height. I'm going to check the setbacks that they're not exceeding that. And now, if it's a cottage cluster or an apartment complex that's coming in for some sort of permit, then I'd be able to say, and you need to address it clearly. But until in which time someone comes in to request some sort of action happen, we wouldn't be going out. We do have like our code enforcement officer. So I guess what if someone were to say, well, they aren't addressed properly, would the code enforcement officer be able to use this code to say you need to retroactively do it is the question, right?
Yeah, and I'm looking, I don't think there's language that says that this is only applicable
to a
to new
new
development going
development.
forward.
So we could adjust the language to say addresses for all new units shall be clearly visible from the public right of way.
That seems fair to me. Thank you.
How would you respond to a city council that would ask regarding the prior ones before we change the language? We're just going to let them remain as is. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. They're grandfathered in.
Well, they aren't compelled to make the change, but they are welcome to make the change, and it would be supported by emergency services, which is a benefit to everyone. And I don't know if there's like small grants and things that building owners or multi-unit owners could apply for to make those types of upgrades. Maybe there are. And I don't think it'd really be that expensive either. You're talking about maybe just like a little post at the entry to the parking lot. So it, and it's probably helpful for even like if you're ordering a pizza,
Yeah.
honestly,
Yes.
So
Deliveries, everything, yeah.
yeah, so I agree. We don't want to go causing problems for existing developments that have been there 50 years and haven't had an issue. So if we just add the word new, all new units, I think we can cover everything that comes along.
Okay, good.
But again, it would be a complaint to the code compliance officer that this section's not being applied. So it would be pretty rare to get that. Yeah. But I think adding the word new would solve the problem. We'd want to add it in both places because it's in both chapters.
Commissioner Brennan, do you have any questions of city staff? Or would you like me to come back to you later? Okay, Commissioner Graw, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Commissioner Carlson?
No questions.
Okay, Commissioner Volbada?
No questions, just a quick comment. Just as a general heads up, when new code is issued, anything that's already in place is grandfathered in. I'm totally amenable to adding in the word new, but just as like an extra layer of just heads up, like yeah, I don't, we would be fine. We would be safe.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Now that I'm thinking it through even more, we'd call everything that doesn't comply with this right now a pre-existing nonconformity. And until which time they make an expansion, they are not subject to complying with these rules. So we could add it but we don't have to because they would be exempt under pre-existing nonconformity.
Yep.
Commissioner Weiss.
I'm good either way.
Oh, you are? Okay. Did you have any other questions?
No.
Okay. At this point, have we received any correspondence regarding the city recorder Bannock?
We have not received any, and I do not see anyone online.
Okay. Well,
I believe Commissioner Brennan may be ready.
okay, you
Yeah, I
ready?
think just one question. So for addresses for new units, those still would not be required to be separate.
Right,
Those-
you could list it all on a placard at the driveway, and then it says clearly visible for each unit. So
Okay.
if you had a building that had 4 units in it, you could put all 4 addresses on as long as it's clearly visible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? No? Okay, we have no correspondence. Public testimony. Does anyone wish to speak in support of the proposal?
I have not received any requests.
Does anyone wish to speak in opposition to the proposal?
No requests either.
Okay. Does anyone wish to provide any testimony that is neither in support of or in opposition to the proposal?
No requests received.
Is there any further testimony or any further questions from the audience?
No one online.
Staff comments. Does staff have anything to add which specifically addresses a question or issue raised during the testimony?
No, Chair Smith, I do not.
Thank you. Do any members of the commission have any questions regarding any of the testimony? If there are no further questions, I will close the hearing to additional
Sorry,
public.
just one more question.
Go ahead.
Would the motion have to allude to the potential language update that we're going to include to addressing?
Yeah, although it sounds like Commissioner Weiss is fine either way, whether we add it or not. But if you are of the opinion we should add it, then the motion would say, I move to recommend approval with the revision to add the word new to subsection 3 in both 1750-040 or 1710-050 and 1712-050, or you can just approve it as is, because either would apply the same, because existing developments would be protected under our pre-existing non-conforming standards.
No, I think we can close the public hearing, deliberate, figure out whether we want the word in there, and then we can
Okay.
make the motion.
At 7:14, a public hearing the public hearing for file number TXT-26-01 comprehensive plan text is now closed. Okay, deliberation. Oh, you need to do a roll call vote, don't you?
I
Close
can
the
do,
public-
yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Brennan,
Yes,
closing public.
closing the
hearing.
public hearing, yes.
Commissioner Graw,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
Chair Smith.
Yes, public hearing is closed at 7:15 PM. Deliberate.
Jenny, I'd look to you for whether or not the new makes sense there or not.
I think it's a little superfluous, honestly. Because any new code where I don't think it's necessary
Okay.
to be frank.
That's fair by me.
Okay, anybody else? Do we have any other comments, deliberations? Are we ready? Are we ready for a motion? Okay,
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to recommend the approval to the City Council of City File TXT-26-01 at their meeting on March 10th, 2026.
I'd second.
Okay, thank you. The motion was made by Commissioner Brennan and seconded by Commissioner Volbada. Tammy, roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss.
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner Grau,
Yes.
Commissioner Brennan,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith, or Chair Smith.
Yes. It has been approved. Okay. We don't have any more, do we have any further business from the public?
I have not received any additional requests.
Okay. Business from the Planning Commission, unless there's something else from staff we need to discuss.
Nothing from my side
Okay.
of things.
Commissioner Volbada, do you have anything you'd like to say this evening?
Nope, nothing new from me. Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Weiss.
I was just hoping we could spend a few minutes on unpacking the core arguments of the public comments today.
Okay.
In the zoning district, a adult foster care, I believe, is allowed outright. And so I'm trying to rectify what's allowed outright with what requires a home occupation. And I think the crux of this relies on the language of the home occupation.
Well, I mean, now that you say that, I'm thinking like nothing that's allowed outright should then require home occupation. The
Right.
problem with the home occupation language is we specifically say family childcare home, which is permitted outright. So we've sort of done it two ways,
Well,
you know?
I think the difference is in the zoning in the zoning language, it's the like overnight. In the home occupation, it's like a home daycare center saying that they don't have to get a home occupation permit for a home
Yeah.
daycare center.
We just use the exact language of family childcare home in both. So that's where we do see it specifically exempted from home occupation. We could be silent on it. We just were being extra thorough, but then not thorough enough because we didn't
Right.
do the foster care. But a foster home, the way it was originally listed here, didn't used to include residential treatment and things. Those are new from the state to be considered foster, those are kind of new uses. I think the way that the code was written, foster home was more of like fostering maybe younger people more traditionally. It doesn't specify adult foster home, right? Which is are often run without people living there, or more of a business model and less of a home model. But now under the state's new HB 2005 language, not only adult foster care, but also residential treatment facilities and residential treatment homes where you're really dealing with like addiction and other mental health and situations like that. They are all, the cities are compelled to approve them. So the thing that is interesting about the testimony is they're absolutely right that our home occupation language is silent on it. And to me, it would be a stronger case if it was also silent on the family childcare home. So I see where they're coming from. I think the best remedy that's going to come is if we changed our home occupation language to exempt this type of use. I don't think the remedy is to shut it down.
We do have language in our business license code that does address that those are allowed, state regulated, and they have to provide it, the state certification on that to get an exemption permit. But that is a question that we're asking the city attorney for clarification on as well.
So that's municipal code 5.04.
5.04, correct.
Mhm.
Okay.
And
Go ahead.
are you ready to move on?
No,
Can I-
I wanted to do this.
Is there a relevant,
everyone okay with
someone mentioned a permit requirement at the county level?
The county requires what's called a change of use permit. Anytime you're converting a traditional home into an adult foster care home or a treatment home, they are now requiring their own type permit called change of use. And that's where they're then able to get the fire life safety inspection for additional people living in the home, make sure that it has the right facilities, in addition to the state reviewers who are going to come in and make sure that the facility meets the needs of the residents. But the county does have a permit for that, even if there are no physical changes happening. Now, I believe in this case on Windsor, there are physical changes happening and a change of use. So the county would be issuing not just the change of use building permit, but also a structural building permit. And that's what's being held up by Gladstone Public Works because we have fees associated with that.
Right.
And which piece of code was it that was referenced that an addition cannot be required to?
I believe they were in 1778, the home occupation code.
On the information that they provided, 1778 04011.
Okay, so
Reads, the dwelling or an accessory building may not be enlarged or altered in a way that requires a building permit for the primary purpose of conducting a home occupation.
so I guess the first question is, does this require the hurdle of home occupation? If it does not, if it's allowed outright and does not require home occupation, then the 17.78
Wouldn't apply.
arguments don't apply.
Right.
Yeah. I'm just trying to follow
And
Nope,
that's the
I'm fine with
question.
this.
I do think based on, I know precedent may or may not apply, but we do have adult foster cares that we have not required home occupation. We consider them a residential use that needs a permit. The permit is issued by the state, which is the appropriate permitting body, and we provide an exemption to a business license because they have a state permit. That's how we've handled all of these.
That's, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna, that's what I was wondering too, is how this home occupation, like even,
I think that the neighbors are looking for ways to make a case. And I think they're onto something here, that our home occupation language, which we updated recently and thought was good.
We need to
is
do
still
a
got a couple
redo.
holes in it, still got some holes in it.
but
Yeah.
it's technically not a home occupation because
Right.
nobody living in the home owns the business.
Well, that's a good point too.
Yeah, that
Yes.
negates
So
what
it
it
doesn't
says.
even come into play.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
why I'm,
So maybe it's not
I'm
even, that's how it
confused.
becomes moot from the beginning. But then if someone did want to live in the building while they're running the adult foster care, could they do that?
would it just be
Probably.
staff though? It wouldn't be like the homeowner. It would just be,
Well, and I do believe that's the plan here. I don't know, because I think it's not being, I don't think it's being remodeled by the operator. You know, I think the idea is to get it ready and then find an operator, is what we've been told by the person applying for the
oh,
business
okay.
license. Who, you know, is there anyone? Yeah, it's has not been an easy business building permit process applicant. So, you know, I get why all of this is happening too from that standpoint.
And I just want to be very clear, you know, because in my head, I'm thinking, okay, to repurpose, that's the same thing as saying it needs to be zoned more commercial, since they're doing a business and it's not going to be occupied by the homeowner. To me, that's just needing to rezone, isn't it? And I understand why these people are upset, because that's always just been plain simply
Well, interestingly, the adult foster care has been permitted there, and
Oh,
is,
in that
yeah,
neighborhood?
foster care has been permitted. It's not specific kid or adult or family, you know, but a foster care is. What the state has done is gone ahead and added some extra uses. So if someone were to come in with what they call an adult, a recovery treatment facility, that would be also permitted. But the adult foster care, just like the ones that are already permitted in town, they haven't been rezoned. They're in residential zones.
Did any of them require construction or being
I
built?
couldn't say.
Okay, but we can look. I mean,
yeah.
because that's kind of also what I was looking into too, because that seems to be their how they're going to challenge this,
Mhm.
and it's just
Yeah.
good to understand.
I
if
don't know,
previous
because
ones
I
have.
haven't, I've had one other like inquiry on Beatrice about an adult foster care, but I haven't seen it come to building permits. So I haven't processed another one. I mean, we are, talking with the Hillcrest Church about a treatment facility type situation that they may
Oh,
be
the
planning
neighbors there, that was proposed before.
Yeah,
It did
so
not go well.
it is something that we are getting questions about and seeing people getting interested in doing, but haven't gotten to the permit phase on anything yet.
I'm not certain, but when it comes to home occupancy businesses, who would be responsible for revising the purposes and uses and all that kind of stuff of that?
We would, but we would work with, the last time we got together, it was Public Works, Community Safety, Administration, the business license, team that reviews those. We all got together to try to workshop that language.
Okay. Because I do think that's going to need to be revisited because they should, if not complement each other, but be crystal clear. So because I remember a case that came before us before and there were too many loose ends and
I do think Commissioner Graw has a good point though about if it's not resident occupied, then it's a foster care that's not, it can't qualify as a home occupation because you're not running it out of your home.
Yeah, I think home occupation is intended to establish the possibility of home-based businesses.
Mhm.
I think we had a Snap-on tool that operated out of a
yeah,
home.
you were
We
on
have-
on the
yeah,
commission then. That's what I
um,
was referring to.
We have, my wife is a photographer. We have a home occupation because she does some of her business
Okay.
off of computers in the house. The intent of the home occupation language is that we can now not build a studio off the side of the house because we've got this home occupation
Right.
allowance that is not a use allowed outright. On the other hand, what we're talking about is potentially allowed outright. And so like this home occupation conversation doesn't even come into play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I do have some questions about whether this language of allowances not requiring addition to the home
Mhm.
is a potential part of this, but that would require us adopting the same language that we have in the home occupation into zoning and like the R7 zoning. Do we foresee challenge from DLCD if we tried to bring that language up to the zoning level and require that these are allowed outright if they don't require additions to the home?
We can definitely ask the question. So what I'm hearing you say is that in the R10 or R7.2 and R5 zones, it would say a permitted use is foster care home parentheses with no physical additions to the existing structure. What if they had an empty lot and wanted to build one?
Would the lot be separate from the existing lot?
Well, I mean, what if there was just a vacant lot or somebody partitions a property and sells a lot to build on? Could you build one? You wouldn't be able to, because what you'd be saying there is that it has to be an existing structure that can then be occupied as this. So I do see a little bit of trouble with that, but we can certainly ask the question if that would be.
Do we want to ask
The other
question,
thing that
commissioners?
I would be interesting to get a take on is I don't know that there's exterior expansion of this property. I believe it's all interior. Yeah, like breaking up rooms in the basement, a big open basement that's being made into bedrooms. So this isn't expanding the footprint in any way.
Yeah, it's my understanding it's all interior.
Mhm.
There's no
Mm.
addition.
Yeah.
or-
And when do we think this is going to come in front of us next month?
We can give you a update on what's going on and how the meeting with the neighbors went, because we'll have had that on March 3rd.
I think at last month's meeting, someone testified that construction had already started
Yeah.
And that's
So
prior
the,
to permit issuance or?
well, the county's been out now at least twice to inspect, and both times they've found that the work that's being done is not permitted work. So I think because they haven't gotten their building permit issued, they haven't done any of their permit required work. So you can change out windows, you can do different things without getting a permit. And I think that the county has found so far that that's what's happening.
Can I request that we have the city attorney on for next meeting when we get an update in case there are additional questions?
Yeah. Is that,
I don't think we can direct. I think we can only request.
yeah.
I
We'll
agree
request
with that.
of-
I would like to see him be able to join us if someone from the firm is available. I see this whole situation causing some predicaments, and moving forward, I'd like us to learn from it, and make sure that the verbiage on everything is correct, accurate, legal, and will make it much simpler than going, well, what do we do now? I also think it would be a good idea if we were able to contact some other cities or other planners and ask how they handle situations like this. Because sometimes it's like, oh, brilliant, that'll work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember when that situation with the one company came before us, it was like, why are we getting this? Because it was a home-based business. But I also get it too, because,
It was an appeal, right? Yeah.
well, there were several meetings on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, he had an attorney write a letter that somehow cleared everything. I don't remember that, Jacob?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think the homeowner made some concessions.
Yes,
Of their
made
own
some
will, yeah.
concessions and
Right.
and it was resolved, but I want us to be moving forward very clear about it, so there's no confusion on city side, staff side, anywhere, and especially I want it to be a win-win for people that want to have businesses in their home.
Well-
Whatnot, but I want us to be,
And I was disappointed to hear tonight that, we had said the county's overseeing the building permit, so that'd be the right place to talk to them. And they went to the county with the city's home occupation language. And so they were told, oh no, that's the city. And so that can just look like such runaround, which is not the intention. I hadn't
I
heard
wish you would have said
anything.
something.
I hadn't heard anything about the home occupation language. If they had said that, I'd say, yes, that's us. We will talk
Okay.
with you about that language. So I am always disappointed when people say they send us back to you, you send us to them. Like,
Yeah.
Did-
it doesn't
Did the
look-
county raise the home occupation issue? Because how did that come?
I don't know.
It sounds like they went to the county and the county was like, oh, you're talking about a home occupation.
Possibly, I don't know.
Because how else would they,
that's
unless
good.
they were just reading the code, trying to find,
Yeah, I don't know.
Mhm.
Could be.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Anything else regarding this topic? Did you get the answers you were looking for?
I did. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Brennan, do you have anything that you'd like to share? Okay, Commissioner Gra? No? Commissioner Carlson?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just happy to work with you guys. I really am. It's just, I love everyone comes prepared, good questions. You all have well, it's like they say, you can't find a perfect man. And sometimes when you're talking about a committee or a commission, right? It's like everybody brings their hair. I wasn't trying to be amusing, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, it's like I need this person and this person and this person, and that'll make the right person. So it is an honor and a privilege to always work with everybody. So on that note, unless there's anything else, I would entertain a motion to end the meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
The motion was made by Commissioner Carlson to adjourn the meeting and seconded by Commissioner Reese. Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Volbada,
Yes.
Commissioner Weiss,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlson,
Yes.
Commissioner Gra,
Yes.
Commissioner Brennan,
Yes.
Chair Smith.
Yes, meeting is adjourned at 7:34.